Bill Maher called out CNN's Kaitlan Collins on the network's bias. Let's watch.
You made press because you were on Stephen Colbert's show, and he said something like, you guys at CNN just report the news straight. And the crowd burst into laughter.
CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And
I'm talking about the people on CNN. And what I know what the conservative side of America thinks, and I don't blame them. They were just gushing about how great a speech it was. And I think she did fine. I didn't think it was as good as they were making it out to be. It does look like tokenism. It's kind of like the same as The View. In a way, I feel like it's more insulting than what Trump does. And Trump says you're the enemy of the people, which is pretty bad. What she's kind of saying is, I don't need you. I'm not talking to you. You don't matter. You're not relevant anymore. To me, that's even worse than I hate you. It's like, I don't think about you.
I don't know if it's worse than denigrating the press on a daily basis, which is what Donald Trump.
Bill Maher calls out CNN's Kaitlan Collins. Again, last time, we showed you Bill Maher tearing into CNN's Kaitlan Collins for her takedown of Caroline Leavitt. You'd think that would make her back off, but nope. Instead, Collins is doubling. Down, taking even bigger swings at Leavitt, Trump, and Elon Musk. Well, Bill wasn't about to let that slide. This time, his response was even sharper. Pure fireworks. And lucky for you, we've got all the receipts. Let's get into it.
Would you continue to give Ukraine money and weapons if you're elected? What's the answer?
If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours. It'll be absolutely
Do you
over.
want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people.
Can I just follow up on that, because that's a really important statement
let me
that
just
you just
follow
made
up.
there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying.
Why Bill Maher is speaking out, before we get to the takedown, we'll dive into Bill Maher's latest takedown in a moment. But first, why is a longtime Biden voter suddenly sounding like he's siding with Republicans? Searview. Reason is simple. Woke journalists have been laying traps for Trump long before election season, and at the forefront, CNN's Kaitlan Collins. In the clip we just watched, Collins wasn't looking for real answers. She was setting up a no-win scenario. If Trump supported Ukraine, he'd be blamed for pushing the world toward war. If he leaned toward Russia, he'd be labeled a traitor. Either way, the media had their headline ready, but Trump saw it coming. He avoided the setup, giving a neutral response: no more lives lost, Ukrainian or Russian. A smart move, and if there's one thing the media hates, it's losing control of the story. So, what did they do next? They doubled down.
You held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to, you're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Trump shuts down Kaitlan Collins. Live on air. Kaitlan Collins tried to corner Trump, but he wasn't playing along. Right in the middle of their interview, he shut her down. Hard. And honestly, she had it coming. Instead of asking a straight question, Collins launched into a long-winded monologue packed with commentary and filler, almost like she was stalling for time. Classic CNN playbook. But let's be real, this wasn't about getting answers. It was about setting a trap. Her strategy? Hit Trump with a loaded no-win question. Something designed to trip him up, make him fumble, or better yet, hand the media a viral soundbite they could twist for days. But Trump saw it from a mile away. Like a veteran fighter, he dodged the setup, turned the tables, and delivered a sharp counterpunch. 1 second, Collins thought she had him boxed in. The next, she was the one backpedaling, and this wasn't her first attempt. But as always, Trump flipped the script. Instead of backing off, Collins doubled down, this time going after Donald Trump Jr.
That environment wasn't just created by Donald Trump.
Okay, but can I say, you can't blame, and everyone wants your dad to be safe. No one wants the threats against his life to happen, but you can't blame the media for those threats. There's been no evidence that's what drove those.
And allows people to have a platform to call someone literally Hitler every day for 9 years, it creates it.
Okay.
Whether you want to believe it or not, that's a fact.
But as you know, J.D. Vance once likened your dad to Hitler as well. He questioned if he was America's.
Trump Jr. fires back after assassination attempt, and Bill Maher calls out the hypocrisy. Right after the shocking assassination attempt on Donald Trump, his son, Trump Jr., didn't hold back. He took direct aim at the media, accusing them of fueling the attack by endlessly comparing his father to Hitler. And honestly, he has a point. For nearly a decade, the media has painted Trump as America's Hitler, a so-called dictator hell-bent on destruction. They've mocked him, demonized him, and turned him into a villain. Then came Kaitlan Collins' smug attempt to flip the script, reminding everyone that J.D. Vance once made the same comparison. But let's be real, Vance didn't have the media's influence, reach, or power. His words didn't carry the same weight. Like many, he initially bought into the anti-Trump narrative until he saw the truth for himself. So is it any surprise that Bill Maher snapped? He sees the hypocrisy, the double standards, and the dangerous consequences of media-driven smear campaigns. And this time, he wasn't letting them off the hook.
Appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden.
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course. You don't
but
follow
I mean,
this.
saying
You
know for a fact that that's what they did? I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true.
Bill Maher exposes the media's double standards. Loud and clear, Bill Maher has had enough. The media's blatant double standards are impossible to ignore, and Kaitlan Collins is right, in the middle of it. For years, she and her colleagues have pushed a one-sided narrative, painting Biden as a hero and Trump as the villain. But they're not just reporting the news, they're shaping it. Their obsession with protecting Democrats has led to a non-stop cycle of negative Trump coverage, twisting words, spinning headlines, and keeping the outrage machine running 24/7. Yet when scandals hit their own side, silence. Just look at Hunter Biden. His laptop exposed clear evidence of corruption, influence peddling, and shady foreign deals. But Collins and her team buried the story like it never happened. Now, imagine if Donald Trump Jr. had even a fraction of Hunter's baggage. CNN would be running wall-to-wall coverage for weeks, and that's exactly why Bill Maher snapped. He sees the hypocrisy. He knows this isn't just bias, it's political activism dressed up as journalism. And this time, he wasn't about to let them off the hook.
There was what you would have to call some sort of media suppression of Hunter Biden's computer right before the election.
Oh, no doubt.
Okay,
and the truth is, I still don't know what I think about that. And sometimes,
right.
But I mean, to actually parse everything in there and figure out just how dirty Biden Sr. is as a result of the information there.
Can I go to step two? But nothing really. It was common. It was the kind of sort of everyday graft that's sleazy, but doesn't affect the world. Probably.
Yes.
Hunter Biden sold his father's influence to get money. But Joe Biden himself would not give away our nuclear secrets to the Chinese. He's not, he has a soft spot for his son, his ne'er-do-well, stupid son.
I mean, you've heard his voicemails to his Hunter.
So, like, Dad, I'm in a little bit of a jam. Could you just meet with the Chinese guy next week? It would mean a lot to me. And Joe would do it. And then and then Hunter would get the money for the meeting.
The Hunter Biden scandal. And the media's hypocrisy. The Hunter Biden scandal was a mess, and the media's response made it worse. Given his track record, are we really surprised? Hunter has profited from access and influence, yet the media paints him as a victim while making Trump the Elaine. They defend the Bidens at all costs, treating Hunter like he's just lost his way. Now, if Donald Trump Jr. had even a fraction of Hunter's baggage, the media would demand his downfall.